गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम नारायण नारायण। ಸುಗಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಂದಿನದು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ? ಪಶ್ವಾದಿಭಿಶ್ಚ ಅವಿಶೇಷಾತ್. ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡುವ ವಿಷಯ we are supposed to speak in English. Okay, so 45th passage, ಪುರುಷ ವ್ಯವಹಾರಸ್ಯ ಪಶ್ವಾದಿಭಿಶ್ಚ ಅವಿಶೇಷಾತ್. So the human behavior can be is compared with is similar to, compared with means it is comparable with an animal. Human behavior, I think 45 allave 40 127 128 it is here. The human behavior is compared with animals. ಪಶ್ವಾದಿಭಿಶ್ಚ ಅವಿಶೇಷಾತ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಷೇಪ, ಕಥಂ ಪುನಃ ಪುರುಷಾಣಾಂ ಅವಿಶೇಷಃ ಪಶ್ವಾದಿಭಿಃ. The idea is simple, so there is nothing much in it, so we'll just proceed fast. Okay, there is nothing much in it. Only ಆಕ್ಷೇಪ ಇದೆ, ಕಥಂ ಪುನಃ ಪುರುಷಾಣಾಂ ಅವಿಶೇಷಃ ಪಶ್ವಾದಿಭಿಃ. How do you say human nature or human behavior is similar to that of animals? Because ye khalu pashwadayah ashanaya pipasad arditaah avivekinah tatkalikam yatkinchid upanatam parigruhya dehayatram ativahayanti. See, the animals ashanaya pipasa arditaah. Being arditaah means when they are pressurized by their hunger and thirst. When they are afflicted by hunger and thirst, what do? They are indiscriminately look for something to eat and just eat something, some grass or something. This is the Purvapakshi's opinion. See the contrast between animals and human beings. How can you compare human nature, human behavior with animals? Because animals are different, human beings are different in this sense. Now he continues, pashwadayah ashanaya pipasarditaah avivekinah tatkalikam yatkinchid upanatam. Whatever is available to them at that time, parigruhya dehayatram ativahayanti. They eat something, whatever is available, some grass, and just live their life. Purushaha puna, whereas human being prajnanena sampannatamaah. Whereas manushyarige matra, whereas for the human beings there is a prajnanam, there is an intelligence. Human beings have 128 129 human beings have intelligence, fit to undertake the, ekandre since they are intelligent, prajnanena sampannatah vignatam vadanti. They speak what they understand. Vignatam vadanti. They speak what they understand. Vignatam pashyanti. They see. Vignatam vadanti. They speak what they understand. Vignatam pashyanti means they see something intelligently. Intelligently they see. Intelligently they understand. Not that they just blindly accept anything. Vignatam vadanti, vignatam pashyanti. Laukike kushala karmani shastriye cha adhikrutaah te eva adhikrutaah. And such human beings are qualified for laukika karma and shastriya karma. Do you say an animal is specially fit for particular karma? Means, can they be specially ordered to undertake a special karma? they can't be. Whereas human beings are capable of thinking and understanding. They see something specially. Okay, so they recognize what they have seen before. What they have seen before, they speak about. They speak about what they have already learnt before, and they can discriminate. All these things, viveka, they have got it. Okay, so laukike kushala karmani shastriye cha adhikrutaha te eva. Therefore, they are capable of taking up a shastriya karma. That means a systematic, an organized work, systematic work, and intelligently. Intelligently, they can take up a work. They alone are fit to undertake the secular acts requiring art and skill, as well as scriptural duties, because they have a developed intellect. That means they have a developed intellect. Vitpanna chittaha. Adarinda, developed intellect means they have an advanced high intelligence. That's what it means. So they can, what requires an art and skill, they can do organized way, systematic way, consciously, intelligently. Intelligently, they require a thinking. What requires a thinking? Not just mechanically or instinctively doing it, consciously, understandingly. So, tat kena samanya muchyate purushanam pashvari. Then in that case, how can you say human beings are similar to animals? To this, the reply is atrottaram avishkurvam sangraha vakya vivaranamaarabhate. So, trying to reply, it starts with a small reply, a brief reply. Pashvadayaha, yathahi pashvadayaha, just as animals. How the animals? I think let us go to the sentence. Sentence is too big. Just a minute, I am looking for the sentence. Where did we do that? Ayyo Rama. It is here. Yathahi pashvadayaha. From this, the whole paragraph. Anti samanascha nischiyate prasvadayaha nivartante. Oh Allah, a big sentence. See the behavior of the animals. Shabdadibihi Pashvadayohi Shabdadibihi Shabdasparsha Ruparasa Gandha Shrotradina. When their sense organs are perceiving the external objects, what happens? If the external knowledge of the external objects gained with the help of the sense organs, the knowledge of the external objects gained with the sense organs, if that knowledge is anukula, if the knowledge is pratikula, they just go away from it. Pratikule jate nivartante, they run away from that thing. Like sound, if the sound is loud sound, they run away. If it is a very nice sound, they go clean near. And looks also, if the looks are very, if they see some stick in your hand, they run away. If they see some green grass in their hand, they come near. So this is seeing the forms, hearing the sound, feeling the touch. So with the help of 5 sense organs, whatever the objects they see, whatever is convenient to them, convenient means very, very pleasant and favorable to them, they approach. If it is unfavorable, they go away from it. This is how the animals do, isn't it? Animals, a perceived object, if the perceived object is favorable to them, they go near. If it is unfavorable, they just run away from it. Similarly, evam purushaha api, a person holding a harita trunam upalabhya, holding a green grass in their hands and invites them. The cows go towards him because he is offering me. They also infer. The idea is animals make inferences. Seeing that if you see a person is running towards you with an angry looks, and holding a stick in his hand, raising his hand with a stick and with an angry looks, and also shouting, is running towards you, seeing them, they infer this person is trying to beat me. So they run away. But instead of that, on the contrary, if he holds a green grass, and then talks them, but he, come here, and they come. Even the dogs also. Dogs or any animals. The idea is animals can infer what is favorable to them, what is unfavorable to them. So the inference is there in animals. See, this is the point. Similarly, human beings also infer. Purushaha api vyutpanna chittaha krura drishtina akroshatah khadgodyagakaran balavatah upalabhya tato nivartante tad viparitan pratipravartante. Similarly, human beings also. If somebody holding a stick and shouts at him and runs towards him, we also run away. Whereas if he talks to you nicely, oh, how are you, please come, when he lovingly and very sweetly talks to you, you go near him. That means in this behavior of inferring, seeing a thing from a distance, we infer whether it is favorable, unfavorable. See, what he wants to compare with the animals is both human beings and animals seeing the things from a distance, not directly experiencing. Based upon the previous experience, we see the present thing, some object, and if that object is going to be favorable, we go towards it. If you sense that this is going to hit me, you run away. So inferring a possible danger or inferring a positive benefit, you infer this from a distance based upon your past experience. This is what inference means. They infer. Animals infer, make inferences. Human beings also make inferences based upon past experience. So this is common to both. So tad viparitan prati atas samanah pashvadibhi purushanam pramana prameya vyavaharaha. Therefore, atah atra pratikula vijnanam tato nivrittihi anukula vijnanam to pravrittihi iti vyavaharat. This samanah eva pashvadibhi sarvesham purushanam pramana prameya vyavaharaha. This is the conclusion. From this event, from this incident, what we the similarity, from this similar behavior between animals and human beings, what is the conclusion we make? See, pramana prameya vyavahara, using the pramanas, inferring the, knowing the prameya is just similar between animals and human beings, isn't it? Sarvesham purushanam pramana prameya vyavaharaha samanaha. Pramanotpanna jnanena prameyeshu vyavaharaha samana eva ubhayatrapi ityartaha. That is idea. Atra vyavahara shabdena ishtanishta prapti pariharartham pravrutti nivrutti parigrihyate. Illi, when we say vyavahara is similar, we only mean this much. We go towards what is favorable. That means approach the favorable, avoid the unfavorable. In this sense, we are similar. Okay. Approaching the favorable or seeking the favorable, avoiding the unfavorable. In this sense, we are similar to animals. अत्र व्यवहारशब्देन इष्टानिष्टप्राप्तिपरिहारात् इष्टप्राप्ति अनिष्टनिवृत्ति एवं पूर्वप्रमाणप्रवृत्तिनिरूपणेन अविद्यापुरस्सरत्वं प्रमाणानाम् आदर्शितम्. Earlier we have shown before that pramanas require pramatrutvam. Pramatrutvam comes into existence only when you identify with your anatma. Identify with the body, mind and sense organs. See, you come to become pramata, or you come to experience a pramatrutvam in you, the knowership in you, only when you use sense organs and mind. In deep sleep, when you are not using sense organs and mind, when you are not identifying with them, there is no pramatrutvam in you. So the very pramatrutvam, this is an important point. Pramana vyavahara is common to animals and human beings. And pramana vyavahara is possible only when there is pramatrutvam. Isn't it? Pramatrutvam means one who uses pramanas. Okay? One who uses pramanas and recognizes the objects, how they are favorable or unfavorable. This recognition, using the pramanas and understanding the nature of the objects, requires a pramata. And pramatrutvam itself is due to adhyasa. This was established before. We have elaborately discussed how the very pramatrutvam is found in the experience where there is adhyasa, where we find a person to be identifying with sense organs and mind. Okay? Purvam pramana pravritti nirupanena avidya purassaratvam pramananam adarshitam. It was shown before that the functioning of pramanas were due to adhyasa. That means due to pramatrutvam. Idanim tu pramana vijnana krita purusha pravritti nivritti rupa vyavahara nirupanena tadeva drudhikriyate. Earlier it was told pramana vyavahara is due to pramatrutvam, which is adhyasta. See, pramana vyavahara, that is using of pramanas and knowing the objects, was by the pramatrutvam, which is due to adhyasa. Now he says pramana vijnana krita. The same thing, the same pramatrutvam is taught based upon our behavior, based upon knowledge. See, one is using the pramanas or knowing the objects. First one. Two instances were explained. One is using the pramanas and know the objects. This proves the pramatrutvam in you. Both in the animals and even human beings, there is a pramatrutvam which uses pramanas and knows the prameya. Second thing here, in this example of animals, comparison with animals, what he wants to say, something, an extra point is, a behavior on our part based upon knowledge rising from pramanas. With the help of the knowledge rising from pramanas. Earlier, only using the pramanas and gaining knowledge. Now, with the help of the knowledge gained, how we behave. This is something extra. In this example, earlier, again I contrast to see, using the pramanas to gain the knowledge. In these things, the very using the pramana gain the knowledge requires a pramatrutvam. Now he says same pramatrutvam is shown. Pramatru means kartrubhoktru. Instead of pramatru, let us say kartrubhoktru. Instead of kartrubhoktru, with the help of the same pramanas, so the knowledge gained, with the help of the knowledge gained through pramanas, how we use the knowledge and react based upon the knowledge. How we react, how we make use of the knowledge how we react to that knowledge based upon the knowledge. Is reaction based upon the knowledge is talked about in this example, in this illustration. Earlier only gaining a knowledge with the help of pramanas requires a pramatrutvam. Here you say you require to be a pramad, not only pramatru, even kartru bhoktru. Because with the help of the knowledge, based upon the knowledge, you react. Either you go towards it or run away from it. You go near or run away from it, and this reaction is possible only if you are a karta bhokta, isn't it? This shows that you are a karta bhoktra. The reaction is based upon karta bhoktru. Karta bhoktru is possible again. Karta bhoktru is nothing but another name of pramatru. That's all. Karta bhokta is another name for pramatru. Karta, see, karta is the one who identifies with karmendriyas. Pramatru bhoktru is one who identifies with mind and sense organs. That means kartru, bhoktru, pramatru are not three separate. It is the same individuality identified with your sense organs and mind. Okay. Therefore, so he is trying to show how we are pramatru, kartru, bhoktrus from our reaction based upon knowledge. We use pramanas, and with the knowledge gained as a result of it, and with the help of the resultant knowledge, how we react. The reaction is only with the help of the knowledge gained through pramanas. So we use pramanas to gain knowledge, and with the help of the knowledge we react in a particular way. See, two things. By using pramanas we gain knowledge, and with the help of the resultant knowledge or gained knowledge we react in a particular way. Our reaction is in keeping with the knowledge gained. See, our reaction is keeping with the knowledge gained. Even in the reaction there is a pramana. Because the reaction is decided according to the knowledge of the pramanas. So the pramana, the pramanajanya jnanam, the knowledge gained is helping you to choose your particular action, particular reaction. The knowledge is helping you to choose a particular reaction. So in these things again there is an inference is operating, there is a pramana is operating. So this pramanas operating requires a pramatrutvam in you. Without pramatrutvam, without somebody being there, you would not have reacted in this way. So this choosing your reaction, a particular reaction, choosing a particular reaction shows that there is a person who is using your will. Okay? Choosing a particular reaction shows there is a person who is using a will. One who is that? It is the Atman that identifies with the mind and sense organs. So this proves that you are an individual jnatru kartru bhoktru, jnata karta bhokta. Okay, now 45 is over. Let us proceed to the 46th passage. Purusha vyavaharasya avidya purasaratva nigamanam. Okay, so tadevam ishtayoga chikirsha anishta viyoga chikirsha cha ityetadvayam sadharanam. So finding receiving what is favorable to you, approaching what is favorable to you and avoiding the unfavorable, this behavior is common. Okay, tatra ishta sadhanata vijnanam tatra vishaye pravruttau prayojanam, anishta sadhanata vijnanam cha nivruttau prayojakam. इत्येतदपि उभयसारण साधारणमित्युक्तम्. A particular knowledge facilitates, leads to particular reaction. Okay, a knowledge leads to particular reaction, and another knowledge leads to another kind of reaction. So this is common to animals and human beings. Tata kimiti ata aha pashwadinam cha prasiddho viveka purassarah pratyakshadi vyavaharaha. Now the animals have pratyaksha and anumana vyavahara. Nahite pashwadayah viviccha atmanam anatmanam cha vyavaharanti. Do animals know that anatma is different from atma? That I am the consciousness and not the body and sense organs and mind? Do they know? They don't know. Because animals identify with their body, and identify with the body, mind and sense organs. They don't know that they are independent of, untouched by the mind and sense organs and the body. Anatma is different, I am the pure Atma. They don't have such an understanding. Napi anumana kushalaah kintu swabhava matranusarinaha. They have neither discriminative knowledge. They have neither discriminative knowledge between Atma and Atma. Atma and Atma viveka jnanam they don't have, nor they are experts in using pramanas. In fact, they are not very experts. Though they also use inference in some cases, human beings are much more intelligent, more capable of making subtle inferences compared to animals. Okay. Human beings are capable of making much better and subtle inferences compared to animals, but they too have some inferences. Okay. Kintu, but even those inferences, even that perception and inference are instinctive on the part of animals. So swabhava matranusarinaha, swabhavanuviddha buddhi chaturya matranusarinaha. Their skills are instinctive skills alone. They are not due to intelligence. That's what he wants to say. That is only an instinctive intelligence, an instinctive knowledge alone, not very refined intelligence. Atayeva hi vyagra gaja bhujanga madayopi manushyaih kathanchitu pralobhya bhishayitva va badhyante swechhanuvartinascha kriyante iti suprasiddhame tat. They are not so intelligent as human being is. That's why we can trap them. Animals can be trapped. We can set traps. Even the big animals like elephant and tiger and lions. Human being is so intelligent. He can observe the nature of animals. See, we have studied human being observes the animal behavior, its weaknesses, plus point, minus point. And from the past mistakes, when we learn the animal's nature, we can set a trap, and the poor animal innocently gets caught. This is, see, it cannot recognize it is a trap. It is a room-like thing. You see, here is a tiger, and to catch the tiger, you know what they set? They put a room like an iron bars. They make like a room, and tie a goat inside it. They tie a goat inside it, and it sees the goat and enters into this thing. As it enters the room, they close the door. They close that door of iron bars, and the lion or tiger gets caught. And that poor unintelligent tiger or lion doesn't understand it is a trap. Otherwise, why should a goat be inside a room, and this seems to be an iron room? It can't recognize. It can't recognize. So this is where it fails. Its inference is not very intelligent inference. it makes a certain rough inference. No, it makes a certain very simple inferences. It makes an instinctive, based upon instinctive knowledge, not very refined understanding. Okay, like the baby makes a certain inference. See, the animals' inferences are compared to baby's inference. Babies can't, babies are offered chocolates. See, they show the chocolates and biscuits, babies go there. And babies don't suspect that there could be some poison or some chloroform, something in these chocolates and biscuits. They would not suspect, because babies cannot infer so subtle things. So similarly, animals' inferences are similar to babies. But the grown-up people can make much subtler inferences, very subtle ones. Means more intelligence is required to make such inferences. So here, swabhava matranusarina. That's why human beings study the nature of animals, and therefore they trap them and control them and play with them. Okay? Chaturya matrena, with their intelligence. Pralobhayitva, they tempt them. Bhishayitva, frighten them. By showing a fire, you can frighten them. Showing a fire, animals run away. By making a big sound, like the, what is that, patake sound, crackers sound, they run away. So like this, you frighten them or tempt them. That way they keep them under their control. Human beings are capable of controlling animals because human being is more intelligent. He can study the animals. Animals don't study human beings. If the fellow has got carrying a revolver in his hand, if a human being is carrying a revolver in his hand, oh, this fellow has a revolver, the animal doesn't suspect. It is incapable of making an inference. Oh, this fellow has got a revolver in his hand, he may shoot at me. It is incapable of understanding what is revolver. It just can't understand. It fails to make a good inference here. But whereas human being can make, human being can observe the animal behavior and study it and control it. Athachate pratyakshadi vyavaharavanto drishyante tasmat naviveka vijnanam apekshate vyavahare. Therefore, the animals, although they make inferences, they don't have discriminative understanding. This is the difference, you see. Making inference is different from viveka vijnanam. This is the thing. A discriminative understanding is what the animals are lacking. Viveka vijnanam apekshante vyavahare kintu pratikula anukula vijnana samutpatti matram. Whether this knowledge is, see, they use pramanas, they gain jnanam, and accordingly they react. This much is common, but no viveka. See the difference. That knowledge, or in other words, they say, they gain knowledge, but they cannot process the knowledge. I think this is the difference. Viveka vijnanam means they gain knowledge, they can't process the knowledge. Animals gain knowledge like us with the help of pramanas, but a human being is capable of processing the knowledge, and they can't do that. After gaining knowledge, analyze the knowledge and come to draw a conclusion and become more intelligent, more clever. That extra intelligence a human being has, because the knowledge which he gained, which has been observing for some days and years, the knowledge the person who has been gaining from days and months and years, that processes the knowledge and totally behaves differently, which animal can't do. Animal can see the knowledge whether it is favorable or unfavorable. Based upon that, it reacts. That's all. It is a straight reaction, knowledge and reaction. Human being, after knowledge, he processes the knowledge and then reacts. His reaction is based upon not only knowledge but also processing the knowledge. That is Viveka Vijnanam. He does the Vijnanam, he does the Viveka of that Vijnanam. The animals can't do Viveka, they only have a Vijnanam and reaction based upon Vijnanam. This is the difference. Tatra kintu pratikula anukula Vijnana samutpatti matram. Whether this is a favorable knowledge, unfavorable knowledge, they recognize only this much. Whether the knowledge is favorable or unfavorable, they recognize this much. Okay. Tatra yaduchyate pramana janitatvat vijnanasya na vidya purassaratvam vyavaharasya iti tatra samichinamiti spashtam bhavati. Drishyate hi pramana janitam vijnanam tatkruta vyavaharascha sampratipanna viveka bhaveshvapi pashvadishu. Okay. Tatra samichinamiti spashtam bhavati. Drishyate hi pramana janita. Just a minute. Okay. As for what was stated, therefore it is established that the discriminative understanding is not required for any vyavahara, but only the knowledge of what is pleasant and what is unpleasant, what is favorable, what is unfavorable. This knowledge is enough. They don't need a further processing of the knowledge, a discriminating the knowledge. Okay. As for what was stated, that the procedure does not presuppose ignorance. Since the knowledge is produced by the valid means of knowledge, it is clear now that it is not right, because the knowledge born of pramanas and the procedure based upon such knowledge are found in the beasts and other animals who are well recognized to have no discrimination. So therefore, pramana vyavahara, therefore, this pramana vyavahara and gaining the knowledge, favorable or unfavorable, recognizing whether the knowledge is favorable or unfavorable. Okay? This, since knowledge is produced by the valid means of knowledge, it is clear now that it is not right. Okay? Because this is not due to ignorance, Purvapaksha says. We say it is due to ignorance. Does not presuppose ignorance. Let me see the one more sentence. Pramana janita vijnanam, the knowledge you gain, when the knowledge is favorable to you, unfavorable to you, also you understand. Human being may be more intelligent and more discriminative, but in spite of his discrimination, still he continues to be pramatru kartru bhoktru. That he can't escape. In fact, human being may be more intelligent, he processes the knowledge. Even in processing knowledge, he is only pramatru kartru bhoktru alone. He doesn't see that I am not anatma. That's the point here. Even in his processing knowledge, no discrimination, that much you can say. He may process the knowledge, but the discrimination between Atma and Anatma is missing, both in animals as well as in human beings, because you continue to be pramatru kartru bhoktru. Animals are also pramatru kartru bhoktru. They are also pramata karta bhokta. If you had a knowledge that I am not the body, mind and sense organs, I am the Atma who is different from body, mind and sense organs. If this discriminative understanding between Atma and Anatma was there, you would not be Pramatru Kartru Bhoktru, you would not run away, you would be different person. Because this favorable, unfavorable, both would not affect you. Whether the favorable, unfavorable is only to the body, only to the Bhokta. It is to the Bhokta alone worldly objects look favorable and unfavorable. If I were Sakshi, that means if I were somebody who is in Sushupti. See the difference here. We gain knowledge in waking state. We gain knowledge in our waking state, but we continue to be the waking individuals. Animals are also like waking individual. See, the waking individual, with the help of the waking knowledge, he responds to the waking objects as a waking individual. Animals also respond in the same way. But Jnani is a one who doesn't see himself as a waking individual. He sees himself as the whole wakeful consciousness, pure consciousness similar to the deep sleep. Means he doesn't see himself as a waking individual, but sees himself as somebody similar to in deep sleep. That is the difference. Jnani sees himself as somebody who is in deep sleep. The Atma which is in deep sleep is not affected by the waking objects. Okay. Is not affected by the waking objects, and his knowledge of the waking objects, the processing of the knowledge of the waking objects, he understands he is not affected by the favorable or unfavorable objects of the waking world. Or a person who wakes up from dream, both the ways. A person who wakes up from dream, or the Atma that wakes up from dream, the Atma that leaves the waking state and discovers that Sushupti is my nature. In both these cases, you see, a person who wakes up from dream, even if he recalls the dream objects, he is not affected by the favorability, unfavorability of the dream objects. A person who wakes up from dream is not affected by the favorability, unfavorability of dream objects. Let us take a concrete example. When you wake up from dream, you are not afraid of the dream tiger, nor you are tempted by the dream money or dream sweets. Dream object of enjoyment, very attractive object of enjoyment, or very repulsive, frightening object of the dream. So you see neither favorable nor unfavorable of the dream objects, because a person who wakes up from the dream remains unrelated to them. So the favorability, unfavorability doesn't affect, because he is no more a dream pramata. He transcends the dream pramatrutvam. The knowledge gained by the dream pramata of the dream objects. See, knowledge gained by the dream pramata of the dream objects. See, I repeat, the dream pramata got the knowledge of the dream objects. How far they are favorable to me, unfavorable to me, he knows. He processes the knowledge, and if it is really harmful, he runs away. So all these things you do if you were a dream person. But if you understand you are no more a dream individual, you are no more a dreamer, no more a dream individual, then that processing, that knowledge, all that doesn't affect me at all. Because you have an extra viveka, extra discrimination, all this knowledge is irrelevant to me. I stand in such a place. I stand as such a being who is totally unconnected with the favorability, unfavorability of the external objects, of the dream objects. I stand as a being. I stand as such an Atma who is totally unconnected with dream objects. Okay? I stand as an Atma who is unconnected with the dream objects. Favorability, unfavorability is immaterial to me. Because the very favorability, unfavorability applies to the dreamer alone, not to the one who wakes up from the dream, or who recognizes himself as a dream sakshi but not a dreamer. A dream sakshi makes a discrimination. He has got a viveka that I am not a dream person, but I am a dream sakshi, dream witness. So he has a dreamer. A dreamer doesn't have this discrimination that I am not a dreaming person, that I am not a dreamer, I am a sakshi. He doesn't have. A dreamer doesn't have an understanding of himself that I am a dream witness, I am not a dreamer. He doesn't know. In fact, he knows that he is a dreamer and he doesn't know that he is a dream sakshi. He doesn't have the dream sakshitvam. That knowledge he doesn't have. But one who wakes up from the dream, he has a dream sakshi understanding and he doesn't have the dreamer, knowledge of a dreamer, identification as a dreamer. He doesn't have his identity as a dreamer. Therefore, the dream objects of favorability, unfavorability, their knowledge and the reactions, both he doesn't have. Neither the knowledge of favorability, unfavorability, nor going towards it or running away from it. Both he doesn't have. Neither the reaction nor the understanding. Neither the knowledge nor the reactions. Why? Because see here the two viveka, two discrimination. One discrimination, there are two levels of discriminative understandings. One level of discriminative understanding means understanding the favorable unfavorable difference and also reacting, okay, processing the knowledge and reacting. But here the very favorability, unfavorability, processing the knowledge and reacting, all this happens to the dreamer, not to the dream sakshi. To the dream sakshi, he doesn't need favorability, unfavorability knowledge. He doesn't need the reactions of approaching and avoiding, seeking and avoiding. He doesn't have to do, because they don't affect him. That knowledge is irrelevant to him. The knowledge of favorability, unfavorability, the reaction of seeking it and avoiding it, catching it and holding it and avoiding it, receiving it and avoiding it. Both these reactions and both these knowledges are unrelated to him, do not touch him. This understanding a dream sakshi has. Okay? But a dreamer, a person who identifies with the dream individuality, takes himself to be a dreaming person, a dreamer. He cannot avoid the knowledge and reaction. Knowledge born of pramanas, because he identifies with the pramanas, identifies with the karmendriyas, identifies with the mind, and he continues to be a dreamer. As a dreamer, I react, my reaction is inevitable, my knowledge comes to me, and my reaction based upon knowledge also is like before. So here, the animals and human beings are similar, not recognizing themselves to be sakshi and not a dreamer. Similarly, in waking state, not recognizing himself to be a consciousness similar to in deep sleep. I am the consciousness similar to in deep sleep. This knowledge he doesn't have. In fact, in place of it, he takes himself to be a waking individual, a waker, a waking individual. He takes himself to be a waker or a waking individual who uses pramanas to gain knowledge, and also after knowing the favorable unfavorable knowledge, to make choice, to react accordingly, to choose a particular reaction based upon that favorable unfavorable knowledge. Based upon the data, a particular reaction you choose. So I am the person who gain that knowledge and also make and also choose particular reaction. That is, that happens to be the waking individual alone. So this human being doesn't have a discriminative understanding that this waking individual itself is not me. I am the waking Sakshi. The waking Sakshi is deep sleep. Deep sleep is waking Sakshi. Waking Sakshi means he is not involved in the waking reactions and waking knowledges. He is not affected by, let us say, he is not affected by the knowledge of the waking objects. He is not tempted by the, he is not tempted and harmed by the objects of the waking state. I remain at such a distance where I am not affected by the waking objects, and the knowledges also do not pertain to me. The knowledge of the waking objects do not directly pertain to me, like the knowledge of the dream object doesn't touch the dream witness, dream Sakshi. Okay, the knowledge of the dream objects moves, touches, frightens, and attracts. The knowledge of the dream objects attracts or frightens whom? The dream individual alone. It frightens and attracts only dream individual. But the dream witness, the witness of the dream is one who is not attracted, who is not affected by the dream knowledge, and who doesn't take to dream reactions. Neither he is affected by the dream knowledge, nor he goes about making dream choices of a dreamer. He doesn't react like a dreamer. His reactions are not like a dreaming person, because the reactions on the part of a dreaming person pertain to the dream knowledge and relate to the dream objects. Here is a dream Sakshi who is unaffected by it. This discriminative understanding a dream Sakshi has. Similarly, a consciousness which is similar to deep sleep, or rather say deep sleep itself. The deep sleep consciousness, even it is present even in waking state, and that Sakshi is called Sakshi. The whole Sakshi of the waking state is not a waking individual. He has that discriminative understanding between waking individual and the waking Sakshi. Waking Sakshi is a Sakshi of all states. Waking Sakshi is a Sakshi of dream also. The dream Sakshi, waking Sakshi are not two. He is one Sakshi who is unrelated to the world and worldly objects. That means he is not a part of a state. A Sakshi is a one who understands himself to be not a part of a state. I am not affected by the state. Here some people make a mistake. I just make a small comment and leave it for today. Conclude it for today. Some people say Jnani remains in waking state even after knowing Jnanam. I repeat, some people say Jnani remains in waking state even after knowing the Atman. Okay, even after knowing the Turiya, he remains in a waking state. See, if he remains in a waking state, he is affected by the waking objects. Jnani, he doesn't remain in waking state. Jnani's understanding is like when you wake up from dream. You have a knowledge of the dream objects when you wake up from. When you have a knowledge of the dream objects as a dream Sakshi, as a dream witness, you have a vaguely knowledge of the dream objects, but they look very hazy. They don't affect you because they don't exist for you. The dream objects do not exist for the dream Sakshi. Therefore, dream Sakshi is not a part of a dream world. He is not affected by the dream objects. The dream knowledge also doesn't pertain to him. All of them are falsified Falsified means what? They don't exist for his level. A dream sakshi, the dream witness lives at such level where the dream objects, dream knowledges become irrelevant to him. Therefore, he lives as a dream sakshi. Similarly, in the waking also, waking knowledges, waking objects do not relate to him, do not affect him. He stays at such a distance. Jnani stays at such a level where the dream knowledge becomes irrelevant for him, and the dream objects do not touch him, do not affect him. Dream objects do not touch him. Dream reactions, I mean the waking reaction. Let us take the waking knowledges, waking objects do not exist for him, and the waker's reactions are also not his reactions. He understands the waker's reactions are not his reactions. I stand at such a place where the waker's reactions are no more my reactions. See, this is the most important thing. Jnani stands as a witness of a waking state and dream state, and the witness stands at such a place where the waker's reactions are not my reactions. Okay? Like in a drama, take an example of a worldly event where in a drama, the characters' reactions, characters' feelings are not actors' feelings. Characters' reactions are not actors' reactions. If a character gets angry, if a character is a thief, if a character is a murderer, actor is not. Okay? The character's reactions, character's knowledge of favorability, unfavorability, the role's knowledge of favorability, unfavorability is not a favorable, unfavorable to the Sakshi. Okay, the role sees the objects of, the waker sees the objects of the waking world as existing to his level. They are able to affect him. But Jnani understands waking objects don't exist for my level. They don't affect me. They don't exist for my level. They don't affect me because I am not a part of a waking state. I am not a waker. Waking state is in me, but I am not a part of waking state. See, the entire waking state is imposed upon me, but I am not part of a waking state. I stand outside the waking state. Waking state is imposed on me. I am not part of a waking state. Means I am not a waker who knows the waking objects as favorable, unfavorable. See, the favorability, unfavorability of the waking objects is a false knowledge for the waking Sakshi. See, the favorability, unfavorability of the waking objects is a false knowledge, because the favorability, unfavorability is false. It doesn't exist for waking Sakshi. Okay? Favorability, unfavorability of the waking objects is a meaningless thing to the waking Sakshi. They don't exist. And the reactions to them by the waker's reactions to the waking objects are not his reactions. That means those reactions don't exist for his level. Waker's reactions don't exist for a waking Sakshi, a Jnani. Jnani understands he is not a part of waking state. The knowledges are false for him. The reactions are not his reactions. They don't exist for him. They don't spring from him. The waker's reaction of running after it and running away from it, accepting and rejecting, don't pertain to the Jnani. Okay, Jnani stands at such a place where he is unaffected by the waking reactions, waking knowledge, and the waking movements. Waking movements, knowledges, experiences. So waking experience he doesn't have of pain and pleasure. So pain and pleasure pertains to the waker. Jnani has a knowledge of pain, doesn't have an experience of pain. See the subtle difference. When the Sukha Dukkha is a Badhitam, is a falsified knowledge. Falsified means He has an experience, he has a knowledge of an experience, he doesn't have an experience. See the difference? See the difference? It is like, I think time is up. I think I'll take 2 more minutes, okay, if you don't mind. See, you have a past experience of pain. Now you remember a 1 week ago experience, a painful experience you had 1 week ago or 1 month ago. You remember it, you recall the painful experience. You have a knowledge of the experience, you have no pain now. You don't have the pain now, you only have the knowledge of it. Jnani has a knowledge of the painful experience but doesn't have knowledge of the experience but not the pain. He doesn't identify with the pain. He has a knowledge of the pain. He doesn't identify with the pain, but he has a knowledge of the pain. See, just as we have a memory of the pain, but we don't have the experience of the pain. Therefore, Jnani falsifies. That means what? The painful experience doesn't pertain to Sakshi. It may pertain to the mind, but not to the Sakshi. Waking mind has a pain, but the waking Sakshi has only knowledge of the pain, but no pain experience of the pain, because it doesn't identify with the waking mind. Therefore, Jnani is not a part of a waking state. Waking state is imposed upon him. Like a role in a drama is imposed on him from the standpoint of spectators. From the standpoint of the spectators, audience, the role is imposed on him. And the imposed role acts, imposed role behaves. So therefore the behavior, the role, the thoughts of the role, the dialogues of the role, the behavior of the role, the reactions of the role, all of them remain imposed on him. They don't touch him. They remain imposed on him. Imposed means what? They remain imposed from the standpoint of spectators. He doesn't have. Spectators see, he doesn't see. Spectators see, he doesn't see. See, that is the thing. That means they are false for him. Means they don't exist for his level. They don't exist for level. See, if a person in a role, his hand is cut. So the role loses the hand, but the actor doesn't actor, or he becomes a blind. The role becomes a blind. Actor has a eyes. Actor doesn't lose eyes. See, the eyes are lost. He becomes blind. Who? For the spectators, the role becomes blind. Actor doesn't become blind. Therefore, the blindness is mithya for him. The blindness is false. It is adhyastha. It is badita. It is adhyastha. It is mithya. Means what appears to the spectators doesn't exist for him. Therefore, Jnani doesn't share the waking state. He is not a part of a waking state. Waking state is imposed on him. Then if a Jnani teaches others, this we will discuss more. It comes later. Today I will just touch it and leave it. So if the Jnani teaches others, seeing this, people are telling Jnani also has to be in the part of a waking state. This is the biggest mistake of misunderstanding of Jnani. Misunderstanding of Jnani means misunderstanding of Atma. Misunderstanding of Jnani means misunderstanding of Atma only. That means Adhyasa is not given up. Jnanam has not taken place. So Adhyasa is not falsified. Therefore, Jnani staying in a waking state and teaching others is also to the spectator alone. He neither stands as an individual nor he teaches. He stands at a distance where he is neither teacher nor he sees the world other than himself. Therefore, the student and the teaching, all of them don't exist for him. Jnani sees neither a Shishya nor his teaching. Which the Shishya sees? Shishya sees himself to be a disciple. He sees the teaching and he sees the Guru. He sees a Guru. Therefore, Jnani doesn't see himself as a Guru. See, just like you cannot see your own height, Jnani doesn't see himself as a Guru, because he doesn't see himself as a waking individual. He doesn't see him, because the waking individuality, visible to the spectator, visible to the Shishya, it doesn't exist for him. Because just as he cannot see his own height, he cannot see his own face, that it is his own face the others see. For him it is false, it doesn't exist. Similarly, Jnani doesn't see his role as a guru, his teaching, and the disciple. All the three don't exist for him. But if you say Jnani is a part of a waking state, then only he can teach others, this is totally false. If Jnani is a part of a waking state, and you say that it is required for a disciple to teach, that means you are mixing up the disciple's standpoint, you are imposing it upon Jnani, and calling Jnani knows that he is a guru. It is like imposing the spectator's stand upon the actor and say the actor has become blind, actor has become lame, crippled. So the spectator's standpoint, whatever the role appears, the reactions of the role, behavior of the role, the knowledge of the role, all of them are false to the actor. Okay, they don't exist apart from him, although they appear to the spectator. Know this standpoint, this is very important. If you see, this Jnani is not a part of waking, he is not a waker, he stands at a place where waking state doesn't exist apart from him. To the disciple he may appear to be guru, he doesn't see that he is a guru, he doesn't see that he is teaching, he doesn't see that there is a disciple for him other than himself. Disciple is the consciousness, teaching is the consciousness, his guruhood is also consciousness. So in the consciousness, these three divisions do not exist for him. Therefore it is mithya. This is called falsification. If they exist, then his individuality is not falsified. Okay. Therefore, Jnani has to have waking state. Jnani living in the waking state, teaching others. Recently, I heard somebody talking. Jnani living in the waking state teaches others, and he has to be, otherwise he cannot teach. The Jnana tradition will come to an end, they say. Jnana tradition will come to an end if Jnani doesn't feel himself to be a waker. Does Jnani feel that he is a waker? Or wakership is imposed upon him who is non-waker? Does he see that he is non-waker? If he understands he is non-waker, then wakership is an imposition upon him, and he is not a waker. Okay? If he is a waker, then the waking objects, waking reactions, all of them belong to him. The waking knowledge pertains to him. Waking reactions pertain to him. And the waking objects, all that affect him, he remains unaffected. That's what is liberation. Otherwise, if he is affected, then what is the difference? Whole knowledge is good waste. Okay. Just as when you wake up from dream, the dream objects appear to be there, but they don't exist for you. See the dream, what happens to the dream objects and dream individuality when you wake up? Tell me. What happens to the dream objects and dream individuality when you wake up? They seem to be there, but they don't exist. Similarly, waking seems to be there, they don't exist for you. Unless you have this understanding so clearly, your jnanam is not complete. If you retain a small iota of waking individuality, then that is called avidyalesha. You retain a small degree of waking individuality. Therefore, what happens? You are affected by the waking world, relationships and responses, reactions and all. You are not turiya. You are a part of a waking individual. So this distinction, one has to be very clear. This will come more later. But in this present context, this much is required. We will see in the next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat